if you found this video, it wasn't by chance. The quantum vacuum called you. There is something moving beyond what your eyes can perceive, an invisible force that led you here, as if the field itself had opened a silent portal at the exact moment you clicked. This is not an ordinary encounter. It is an inevitable calling. You may believe you were distracted, that you simply stumbled upon this title among so many others. But make no mistake, there is no such thing as chance when it comes to the awakening. What happens now is the result of a profound synchronicity, a precise alignment between what you vibrate and what the universe answers. The invisible moved you here, and this revelation cannot be forgotten. Imagine yourself before a dark ocean, seemingly empty. For ages you believed nothing existed there, only silence and absence. But the truth is, this invisible ocean pulses, creates, responds. It brought you to this moment because you could no longer remain asleep. A signal was lit, a whisper echoed in the vacuum, and your consciousness followed it here. Feel the weight of this revelation. It's not just a video. It is a message destined to cross the boundaries of the rational and touch the part of you that knows. Because deep inside you, there has always been a memory, however dormant, that there is more, that the visible is not everything, that life cannot be limited to automatic repetitions. This is the reminder that the awakening has already begun. The click you made was, in fact, a response to something that had already been activated in your energy. The silent portal opened and you crossed through. Nothing will be the same, because from the moment the light of the field touches your perception, destiny ceases to be an uncertain line and becomes an inevitable path. You can try to rationalize. You can think it might be a coincidence, but deep inside, something has already recognized. It's not. The truth is not explained in words. It burns, it vibrates, it reveals. And now, facing this message, you cannot turn back. What has been seen cannot be forgotten. What has been felt cannot be erased. Today, you stand before an irreversible revelation. The quantum vacuum, this invisible field that sustains all creation, is calling your name. Destiny did not bring you here to observe from afar, but to cross through, to recognize that you are already inside the process, already being molded, already being initiated. The awakening doesn't start tomorrow or on any other day. It started now, in this instant. The simple fact that you are hearing these words is living proof that your journey is already in motion. The invisible has already moved, and nothing will be able to stop the light that has begun to shine within you. Prepare yourself, because what will be revealed is not just knowledge, it is a watershed moment. This is the moment when the call meets the chosen one. And if you feel these words resonate in your soul, it is because the field had already prepared this encounter long before your eyes opened to this video. The portal has opened. The message has begun, and you are inside it. What many call emptiness, science calls the quantum vacuum. But this vacuum is not absence, it is invisible fullness. It is where the matrix of all creation pulses, the field where everything that exists anchors itself even before becoming visible. Every thought you emit, every emotion that crosses you, leaves an imprint on this field, like waves spreading across the ocean. And inevitably, what you vibrate returns to you in the form of experience. Think about it. Nothing you feel or think is lost. The field records, responds, organizes. It's as if the universe were a great mirror, returning to you what has already been born in your energy. Thus, when you look around and notice coincidences, unexpected encounters, or repeating patterns, it is not chance. They are the waves of the field returning, signaling that you are already in tune with something greater. That is why the simple fact of you being faced with this message is so significant. You did not stumble upon it by mistake. Your vibration brought you here. You were guided by the invisible force that connects everyone and everything. It is the quantum field showing that your inner search has found a reflection in the outer world. What you felt in silence within yourself found its answer now, at this exact moment. The hidden call does not manifest with deafening noise, but with subtleties. It appears in dreams that seem more real than wakefulness, in numbers that repeat before your eyes, in people who appear at the exact moment you need a word. This call manifests as synchronicity, clear signs that the invisible has moved in your direction. And here you are, faced with an invitation to recognize that there is no separation between your life and the field. Everything that happens, even what you believe to be an obstacle, is communication. The invisible field responds to what you vibrate, and in realizing this, You are no longer a passive observer of the universe, but an active participant in the dance of creation. Now you understand. Being faced with these words is proof of alignment. You don't just hear a message, you resonate with it. And every resonance is a sign that something within you has already awakened. Before we continue, if this video has already awakened in you the feeling that the quantum vacuum guided you here, subscribe now and write the word quantum in the comments. This anchors your choice in the field and confirms your attunement to the awakening that has already begun. Crossing the threshold, the irreversible perception. Living without consciousness of the quantum field is like walking in a room plunged into darkness. You get used to groping, repeating the same steps, believing there is nothing beyond what you can touch. But suddenly, a crack opens, a spark of light shines through the gaps, and what seemed like mere emptiness reveals shapes, colors, and paths that were previously hidden. This is the experience of awakening, realizing that reality was never just what your eyes saw, but what your being was ready to recognize. The threshold is not a physical line, but an internal state. It is the instant when you stop being just a passive observer and become a witness to the invisible truth that has always been present. Crossing this threshold is like diving into deep waters after a lifetime on the surface. Suddenly, there is silence, there is vastness, there is movement in all directions. You discover that what seemed limited was, in reality, infinite. This new perception does not happen loudly. It does not announce itself with trumpets. It arrives as a breath, an internal click, a certainty that cannot be explained, but that transforms everything. You realize that the field responds, that the invisible communicates, that nothing happens outside the order of awakening. And the most impactful truth is that once this threshold is crossed, there is no return. You can try to ignore the signs. You can wish to return to the old comfortable blindness, but the field does not allow it. Consciousness, once expanded, does not return to its previous state. The gaze has changed forever. The world around you remains the same. The streets, the voices, the days that follow one another. But your gaze is no longer the same. You perceive the pulse of the invisible in every detail. Chance dissolves before synchronicity. Routine transforms into a setting for hidden messages. The ordinary reveals itself as extraordinary, because now you see not only with your eyes, but with awakened consciousness. This is the moment when you understand. The awakening is not a distant destination, but a transition that has already happened within you. Crossing the threshold means accepting the responsibility of this new vision. It means recognizing that, in perceiving the field, you become a conscious part of it. You are no longer separate. You are not lost. The invisible field is alive, pulsing, and you are already inside it. There is no way back to believing in chance, in emptiness, in loneliness. The new perception is irreversible. The portal has been crossed. The awakening has begun. And with every step, the quantum vacuum will continue to reveal what has always been hidden, waiting for the moment when you would be ready to see. The signs of quantum awakening. When the awakening begins, it does not announce itself loudly or dramatically. It reveals itself in subtle, almost imperceptible signs that accumulate until they become undeniable. These are indications that the quantum field is already responding to your inner calling, confirming that you have not only crossed the threshold, but are now walking in a new frequency of existence. One of the first signs is synchronicities, those impossible coincidences that seem to have been choreographed by the invisible. You think of someone, and that person appears. A number repeats before your eyes so many times that you know it cannot be random. A word or symbol appears in different places, connecting situations that, until then, seemed isolated. The field speaks through these subtle connections, and every time you notice them, your consciousness expands even further. Another powerful sign is physical sensations. You may feel an unexplained tingling in parts of your body, as if a subtle electric current is passing through you. You may feel sudden heat or a lightness as if your body is floating. Some notice internal vibrations as if new energy is circulating through their cells. These signs are not illusion. They are real manifestations of the interaction between your body and the quantum field. The invisible begins to touch the physical, revealing that the boundary between energy and matter is much thinner than you imagined. Time also begins to behave strangely. Seconds can seem eternal, as if the moment is infinitely stretching. At the same time, days can evaporate in the blink of an eye, leaving you with the feeling that the calendar has lost its rhythm. This happens because, in the quantum field, time is not linear. When your perception awakens, you begin to experience glimpses of this truth. Past, present, and future coexist, and your consciousness begins to touch them differently. There are also subtle changes in your emotional sensitivity. Situations that previously went unnoticed now touch your heart with greater intensity. You feel deep empathy for strangers. Tears come without warning before a landscape, a song, or even silence. The field awakens in you the perception that everything vibrates in unity, and this perception generates a spontaneous compassion that cannot be contained. These signs are like the first distant drumbeats announcing a journey. They are not the end, but the beginning of a path that only deepens. And most importantly, they are confirmations. Every synchronicity, every vibration, every distortion in time is the field saying, "You are on the right path. Continue." Perhaps you have already felt some of these signs. Perhaps you have already seen repeating numbers at key moments, or experienced that feeling of time splitting into two realities. If this has happened to you, understand. It is not hallucination. It is not chance. It is the quantum awakening manifesting in your life. And now I make you an invitation. Share in the comments, what was the biggest sign you have ever experienced? Tell the field and tell everyone walking this same journey. I perceive the signs. I am awake. This sharing is not just an exchange. It is an act of anchoring. When you declare your experience, you affirm it in the field, making it even more powerful and conscious. You are not alone. Every sign you have experienced is also experienced by others. Every individual awakening is part of a collective awakening. And together, these signs become a symphony that echoes through the vacuum, expanding planetary consciousness. The signs have already begun. The field is already speaking, and you are ready to listen. Dissolving the illusion of separation. For ages, humanity believed itself to be fragmented, disconnected, isolated in small individual existences. This was the greatest mistake of limited perception, the idea that we are separate. But the quantum vacuum reveals another truth. It is not a cold, lifeless void, but an invisible fullness that connects everything to everything. Nothing is outside it. Nothing exists beyond it. And this means that you were never alone. Separation is an illusion created by the senses. Your eyes see distinct bodies. Your mind creates boundaries. Your words define what appears to be me and other. But the quantum field dissolves these lines. It shows that every being is merely a singular expression of the same energy, like waves that, although different in shape and height, belong to the same ocean. Think about it. You are not just a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean experiencing itself through the drop. The same energy that pulses in the stars pulses in you. The same field that sustains the universe sustains your thoughts, your dreams, your breath. When you believe you are separate, you limit your perception of what you truly are. But when you recognize the unity, fear dissolves, because how could anything be against you if everything is part of you? The quantum vacuum is like an invisible network that interweaves every particle, every atom, every heart. When you suffer, the field resonates. When you awaken, the field expands. There is no isolated action, no vibration that does not reverberate beyond itself. Therefore, every choice you make has a much greater impact than you imagine. Your energy is not confined to your body. It touches everything. And here is the revelation, the feeling of loneliness, of abandonment, of being lost in the midst of an indifferent world, is nothing more than a shadow projected by the illusion of separation. The field never stopped pulsing within you. The universe never stopped whispering that you are a part of it. When you dissolve the illusion of separation, a new horizon opens up. You realize that you are not life's enemy, but its co-creator. You understand that you don't need to compete, because the field is abundance. You recognize that there are no others to fear, because everyone is an expression of the same consciousness. This is the heart of the quantum awakening, abandoning the illusion of being isolated and embracing the truth of unity. No longer scattered drops, but an ocean that recognizes itself in every reflection. And as this perception deepens, a new power is born, the power of trust. Trust that you are sustained, that you are connected, that the field never abandons you. And in this trust, all fear begins to dissolve like mist before the light. You were never separate. You have always been part of the whole. And now, finally, you begin to remember. The end of victimization. Reality reflects you. For a long time, you believed that life was happening against you. that challenges were punishments, that losses were injustices, that suffering was proof of a cruel destiny. This is the perspective of victimization, and it imprisons consciousness in a cycle of pain and powerlessness. But the quantum vacuum reveals a truth that transforms. Reality does not punish you, it reflects you. The field functions as an invisible mirror. Every thought, every emotion, every belief is projected onto it and returns in the form of experience. There is no accusation, no condemnation, only response. When you vibrate fear, the field returns situations that confirm that fear. When you vibrate love, the field returns encounters, signs, and opportunities aligned with that love. The external reality is merely a reflection of your internal vibration. This understanding dissolves victimization because you realize that nothing happens to you from the outside in. Everything happens from the inside out. The obstacles you face are not imposed punishments, but vibrational reflections that indicate where your energy needs to be healed, adjusted, transformed. The field does not punish, it teaches. It shows you with absolute perfection what needs to be recognized in your own consciousness. Embracing this truth is a watershed moment. It is the end of the victim position and the beginning of the position of conscious creator. It doesn't mean you control every detail of life, but it means you influence everything by the way you vibrate. Reality is not an enemy, but an ally that returns to you in the form of experiences, the exact measure of what you project. And here is the key. Taking responsibility is not carrying a burden, it is gaining liberation. Because if life were truly a hostile chance, you would be at the mercy of luck. But if life is a vibrational mirror, then you have power. The power to change within yourself what you wish to see reflected outside. The power to transform your world by transforming your energy. Every emotion projected returns multiplied. Every vibrational choice echoes in the field and expands. Therefore, when you consciously decide to vibrate love, gratitude, confidence, the field responds with synchronicities, open doors, and undeniable signs that you are in alignment. The end of victimization is the birth of sovereignty. It is the moment when you stop waiting for the world to change to feel at peace and begin to change your vibration so that the world reflects that peace. The field is not against you, it is you, it responds to you. And now, recognizing this truth, you can no longer see yourself as a victim. You are a co-creator and the mirror is before you, perfectly reflecting every vibration emitted. The choice is yours. Continue vibrating in the frequency of pain, or assume the power to vibrate in the frequency of creation. The field will always respond. Quantum time. The power of now time, as you know it, is a straight line. Past behind you, present beneath your feet, future ahead. This is the common perception, useful for organizing days and marking the rhythm of life. But in the quantum vacuum, time is not linear. It does not flow in a single direction, like sand falling in an hourglass. It behaves like waves in an ocean, interconnected, coexisting, touching without rigid boundaries. When your consciousness awakens, you begin to feel glimpses of this truth. Moments when the past seems to change because you changed in the present. Old situations, which once brought pain, suddenly dissolve into peace, as if the memory had been rewritten. This happens because, in the quantum field, the now has the power to heal the yesterday. The present is a wave that reverberates backward and alters how the past vibrates in your consciousness. Similarly, the future is not something distant, waiting for you on an invisible road. The future already exists as a possibility in the field. It is not ready and fixed, but pulses as different lines of reality, awaiting your vibrational choice. That is why intuitions arrive suddenly, like flashes of a tomorrow that has not yet happened, but is already recorded in the quantum field. The mystery of quantum time is revealed when you realize that every instant is a portal. The now is not just a brief passage between what was and what will be. The now is the point of power. It is where you access the past to heal. It is where you access the future to choose. It is where you anchor your vibration and, thus, determine which line of reality will become visible before your eyes. Think of time as a vast ocean. The past are waves that have already formed and broken, but still reverberate in the movement of the sea. The future are waves that are still rising, taking shape on the horizon. And the present is the point where you touch the surface, influencing all waves at the same time. You are not trapped in a current that drags you. You are the ocean itself. This understanding changes everything. Because if time is not a linear prison, then you are not a prisoner of your history. You can heal old wounds now. You can access possible futures now. You can choose, at every instant, to vibrate in a way that aligns with the reality you wish to live. The now is the true portal of creation. It is where your consciousness touches eternity. And the more you awaken, the more you realize that time is not an enemy running against you, but an ally that molds itself according to your vibration. In the quantum field, time does not limit, it obeys. And the key to crossing its mysteries is simple. Be fully present. Trust and surrender. Aligning with the flow, you were taught to believe that you need to fight, resist, conquer by force, as if life were a constant battle where only effort and control guarantee victory. But the quantum vacuum reveals a different truth. The more you resist, the more exhausted you become. The more you try to control, the more you lose yourself in the labyrinth of anxiety. The field does not respond to desperate effort, but to confident surrender. Surrender is not giving up. It is not folding your arms and accepting defeat. Surrender is understanding that there is an invisible order greater than your limited vision. It is recognizing that delays are not failures, but invisible alignments. That closed doors are not rejections, but redirections toward paths that were not yet ready to be revealed. Life is not against you. It is guiding you, like the river that gently carries the leaf on its surface. Resisting the flow is like swimming against the current. You exhaust yourself, despair, and believe you'll never move. But when you trust, when you allow yourself to be carried, you discover that the river already knew the destination even before you were conscious of it. Surrender is courage because it requires releasing the illusion of control and trusting the invisible. The quantum field does not err. It organizes everything in perfect synchronicity, even when your mind insists on believing things are out of order. If something hasn't happened yet, it doesn't mean it was denied. It means it is being prepared on a level you don't yet see. Just as a seed doesn't germinate the next day, your dreams also need maturation in the invisible before becoming visible. Surrender is like listening to music. You don't control it, you don't speed up its notes or force its melody. You just allow yourself to feel, to flow with it, to be guided by the rhythm. It is the same with the field. The more you fight against the silence, the less you hear the symphony. The more you try to control, the less you perceive the perfection of the invisible order. What is yours cannot be lost. What is not yours cannot stay. This is the truth that frees the mind from anxiety. You don't need to force what already belongs to you in the field. You just need to align your vibration and allow the invisible to take charge of the path. To surrender is to trust that there are invisible hands sustaining you, that every step, even the one that seems wrong, is part of a greater design, that life does not abandon you, but guides you, and when this trust is born, fear dissolves. You no longer need to run after things, because what is yours is running toward you. Surrender is the supreme proof of faith in the quantum field, not blind faith, but conscious faith, the certainty that the invisible is alive, pulsing, and that everything that needs to arrive will come in perfect time. The final invitation: declare your awakening. You have arrived here, crossing every layer of revelation, like someone traversing a secret path hidden within your own consciousness. What began as a silent call in the quantum vacuum now reveals itself as an inevitable awakening. It was not chance. It was not luck. You were destined to hear these words, because the field had already prepared this encounter long before your eyes perceived it. The awakening is irreversible. Once consciousness touches the light of the field, there is no returning to darkness. The veil has been lifted, and what was hidden now pulses before you with clarity. You can no longer live as before, because the before no longer exists. Every perception, every sign, every synchronicity has become seeds planted in your soul, germinating toward a new reality. And here is the truth that needs to be recognized. The journey has not ended. It has only begun. Crossing the threshold of awakening is not reaching the end, but the beginning of a new way of existing. Now you carry the responsibility of being a conscious co-creator within the quantum vacuum. No longer someone who reacts to chance, but someone who understands that every vibration is a choice. Every emotion is a command. Every thought is a seed launched into the infinite field. This responsibility is not a burden, but power. The power to align with the flow of the field, to manifest not from fear, but from confidence, not from lack, but from abundance. You understand that there is no separation between you and the universe. You are the universe itself experiencing itself. This truth frees you from the illusion of loneliness and inserts you into the collective movement of planetary awakening. Because it's not just about you. The individual awakening is also a piece of the collective awakening. Every time a human being crosses the threshold of consciousness, the entire field expands. Your light illuminates others, your choices reverberate, your vibration creates waves that reach invisible distances. You do not awaken only for yourself, but for everyone. The quantum vacuum did not call you by chance. It called because this is the time. It called because a collective portal is opening, and you are part of it. It called because planetary consciousness needs every awakened spark for the transformation to happen. And now you know. The portal is open, and you have already crossed it. Don't wait for external signs to confirm what has already burned within you. The greatest sign is what you feel now, in this instant. The silent certainty that you can no longer live as before, because something has changed. This flame cannot be extinguished. This awakening cannot be denied. And so, I make you a final invitation. If you felt this truth burning within you, declare the word awakening in the comments now. This is not just a symbolic gesture, but an act of anchoring. It is you confirming to yourself, to the field, to the universe, I have crossed the threshold. I choose to remain awake. Subscribe to the channel to stay connected to this frequency, to continue receiving the messages the field brings, so that your journey does not fragment in isolation, but remains aligned with the collective. This is your conscious act of alignment with the quantum vacuum. The portal is already open. The light has already turned on. The awakening is irreversible. You are no longer in darkness. You are no longer a prisoner of chance. You are no longer a victim of life. You are part of the totality. You are the ocean recognizing itself in the drop. You are the spark remembering how to be fire. You are the field in motion, the consciousness in expansion, the living answer of the universe to the call of your own being. The invisible brought you here, and now your consciousness is a witness that nothing can stop the journey that has begun. The future is not distant. It pulses now within you. And every choice you make, every vibration you emit, every word you declare will be part of the construction of a new reality. Declare, anchor, remain awake, because the field has already decided. Your awakening is irreversible.